Hi, this true story is about to be told by my good friend Cassandra. Please support her by liking and commenting. Have a good time, everybody.
I used to think I had a solid marriage. You know, the kind that other people look at with admiration. You two make such a great team, they'd say. And I smiled, feeling proud of the life we had built together. We got married when we were both 25, full of youthful dreams and naivete, thinking that love could conquer all. For the first 10 years, everything was good. Reliable. I worked part-time as a nurse, combining home life and career, and he worked his way up the corporate ladder. We had our ups and downs like any other couple, but nothing could shake the foundation of what I thought was an unbreakable bond. At least, that's what I thought. But life has a funny way of revealing cracks you never knew existed. We were friends with another couple. Let's call them Sarah and Mike. We went on double dates, had barbecues, our kids played together. It was the perfect friendship. Sarah and I grew close, having intimate conversations over wine about marriage, motherhood, and everything in between. Little did I realize that the woman I confided in would be the source of my first real heartbreak. It happened when my husband cheated with her. I can't even describe the moment I found out. It's impossible to describe the wave of disbelief, anger, and pain that comes over you when you find out your partner has cheated on you. I felt shattered. Like the life I thought I had was a mirage. How could he do this to me, to us, and to her? The months that followed were a living hell. I wanted to leave so many times, but I stayed. Why? Maybe because of the kids. Maybe because I couldn't imagine starting over. Or maybe, deep down, I just wanted to believe that we could make things right, that we could somehow heal from the double betrayal. We tried therapy. We had long, tear-filled conversations, and for a while I thought we were recovering. I told myself I could forgive, but I never really forgot. I thought time would erase the pain, but it only buried it. 18 years have passed, and that instinct, the same instinct I had learned to ignore for so long, has returned with renewed vigor. It began unbidden. A sense of anxiety I couldn't shake off. I was out of town visiting our daughter and noticed that my husband and another close friend, let's call her Lisa, were spending too much time together. At first, I brushed it off as paranoia. After all, we'd been through a lot, and I didn't want to go down that rabbit hole again. But something wasn't right. One day, I overheard them talking on the phone, a normal conversation, so it seemed to me. But it wasn't the content of the conversation that alarmed me. It was the length of it. 2 hours. Who talks to another man's wife for 2 hours if they're not supposed to have anything in common? I talked to him, of course. I'm not one to shy away from an inconvenient truth. But he denied everything. You're making it up, he said. She's just a friend, and Lisa, well, she played her part well too. You're just being ridiculous, she said with a nervous chuckle, brushing it off like it was nothing. But I knew better. Just like I'd known all those years ago when he'd cheated with Sarah. So I did something I never thought I'd have to do again. I investigated. I went through his phone as it lay on the table. Most of the messages had been deleted, but there were plenty that remained. They weren't explicit, but they were all too familiar. The kind of conversations that crossed the line between friendship and something more. I felt like a fool. Again. I couldn't believe I was in this nightmare again. I'd been through this once before, but how could it happen again? The difference was that this time I didn't have the same old struggle in me. Maybe it was because I was older, or maybe it was because the wounds from the first betrayal had never fully healed. But something inside me had broken. For 2 more years, I tried to forgive him again. We went through all the same procedures, therapy, apologies, promises, but it wasn't the same. I would wake up in the morning, look at him, and feel nothing. No anger, no love, just an emptiness that gnawed at me from the inside out. I couldn't do it anymore. I couldn't pretend that we had something worth keeping, not after 2 betrayals. Not after the same scenario repeated itself. I finally realized that by staying, I was slowly killing myself. So after 30 years of marriage, I left. Leaving wasn't easy. In fact, it was the hardest thing I've ever done. I had to mourn not only the loss of my marriage, but the loss of the life I thought I had. The future I had envisioned, the memories we had made, all of it seemed tainted. How do you unravel 30 years of your life with someone who hurt you so deeply? How do you separate the good from the bad? I spent months going through old photos, not knowing what to do with them. Should I keep family albums? The vacation pictures of us looking so happy, even though I now know it was all a lie? Or throw them away and pretend those years never happened? Truth be told, I still haven't figured it out. Some days I feel like burning it all down and starting over. Other days I hold on to the memories because even though they are tainted by betrayal, they are still part of my story. Rebuilding my life has not been easy. I'm 55 now, and starting over at that age is very difficult. But I realize that I can no longer carry the weight of my husband's decisions. It's his burden, not mine. My self-esteem is not tied to his infidelity, although sometimes I feel that way. As for trust, I don't know if I will ever be able to fully trust someone again. Maybe that's the price I'm paying for staying with him for so long after the first infidelity. Or maybe, in time, I'll learn to trust myself enough to let someone back into my life. Right now, I'm focusing on myself, on healing the parts of myself that I've left behind for so long. I'm rediscovering who I am beyond wife and mother. It's a slow process, but I'm getting there. I wish I had a happy ending, but life doesn't work that way. I'm still in the middle of the mess, trying to figure out what my next chapter will be. But for the first time in a long time, I'm writing it on my own terms. And that, at least, feels like progress.